Hello, this is Lydia with Lydia Bates Crates. This is part two of what I got on Vinted. As I was discussing earlier in my other videos, I just recently discovered Vinted. I decided to open up a craft business in less than 3 months ago. I couldn't do it when I was working 80 hours a week. I'm not working 80 hours a week. Working half of that, less than half of that. So now I have the time. So what I just discovered was shopping on Vinted. Now, typically I do shop locally at my Michaels. I do order from Hobby Lobby online, and I have occasionally bought from Facebook Marketplace some of the different craft items I need. I just got a really nice Spellbinders die cutter that hand cranks for like 20 bucks. And that was, I'll show you that later, but that was hardly used. So I have been going local, but typically when I discovered Vinted, didn't really have a budget. I just started shopping because most of everything I'm getting is under $5. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Vinted, Vinted, and then you'll be surprised. And it's not just craft supplies. Obviously, they sell clothing, shoes, toys. I love to get vintage cookbooks, and I actually bought one. When I was excited about it because it's a ethnic cookbook for Southern cooking, and when I get it, I'll share it. But there's also old magazines that are no longer in print. People are selling just about anything, so check it out. Check out Vintage. All right, my first package, I got some rubber stamps. These are just $1. And these are by Clear Stamps Studio G. Brand new. I don't know if you can see them. It just says friends and friends for life. It's really cute. And then this is just a basic notepad. And that'll be helpful. I can definitely use it. And this one, Halloween's soon upon us. It's considered Summerween right now. But this one I'm going to really use a lot of. This is all the bats in the spider web. So I can see myself using this a lot. And again, I use my rubber stamps for cards, paintings, and for polymer clay. So you'll see me do those demonstrations. Coming up a little bit later. All right, this package came from all the way from the state of Illinois, Chelsea. This one is just a simple Santa Claus rubber stamp. Again, there's no name on here, which is oh, it says Stamping Up. Oh, this is very nice. Stamping Up. So, of course, when you're a crafter and you're trying to do anything on a bigger scale, you got to start early. So I'm going to be using this for cards and other things, probably some ornaments, because there's a nice impression on the back of it in rubber. And the clay will take very good to this. So I can see myself making pins that you can wear in your clothing. I can see myself using this for stamps and making cards with it. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is making ethnic Santas, which means that they're going to be in all skin tones. A couple of my groups on Facebook, they collect black Santa Clauses. So that made me think. I said, you know what, I could probably start doing that. So I have a lot on my plate. One of the things about me as a crafter, I don't stick to just one thing. That becomes very boring, and I can't do the same things over and over again. So I'm going to be jumping around from going to rubber stamping on cards, bookmarks, notepads, and using the stamps for like clay impressions and things of that nature. Excuse me. The only thing you have to be careful of is copyright things. Sometimes there's copyright disclaimers on the products. Now, because I don't have the original packaging of some of this, I don't always know the copyright disclaimers. One of the key things to remember is don't reproduce things like Snoopy, like those copyrighted designs, things like, SpongeBob, or anything that's like from Disney or like Mickey Mouse. You don't want to reproduce anything with those items. That's okay for personal use, but not when you're selling it. All right, next package, and where's my scissors? All right. Interesting. I don't even remember all the stuff that I bought because I was buying a lot. Alright, so this package came from someone named... Oh, you know what? This came from Tina. So that's another thing. I buy a lot from Temu. When I first started, I was getting nervous with reviews from a lot of people, but the reason why I like about Temu is because I work in polymer clay, I need cutters that are real small. Yes, I know that there's companies such as I think it's called the Clay Express or somewhere out of Hawaii, which I will be ordering from them. But cost-wise, I usually, when I buy from Vinted or AliExpress, now this is, excuse me, let me just scratch that. When I buy from AliExpress or Temu, I usually cap my sale at $20 so I can stay on budget. And I'll do another $20 and another, later on. But these are just some little cutters. And these are the chickens. I got some, these are the pumpkin cutters. And the cats, which is going to be really good. Most of my polymer clay work is small, so that's why I started to spend a lot of money on smaller cutters. This is a skull moth, I think, or some kind of, I don't know if you can really see it. You can't see it, but what I'll do is when I make this, when I do my demonstrations, I'll make sure you can see it. And this is a turtle mold. Now, as you know, everything on Temu is very inexpensive. It doesn't cost much, and I don't particularly buy clothing or handbags from them at this point. I strictly buy cutters, and these are just some. These are those zip up clothing bags. So that's all these are. But yeah, I don't really buy a lot of clothing yet on Vinted. Excuse me, I keep saying Vinted. I meant Temu. I have seen reviews where people buy something and then they get it and it looks totally different. So I strictly use AliExpress and Temu. Those are strictly for craft supplies. And as you know, you can't get this stuff locally. So normally with AliExpress, it's been pretty quick, but Temu takes about 2 weeks. So I've already purchased all of my cutters for Christmas and Halloween. Christmas and Halloween is pretty much the biggest, well, for me, it's the hardest. Most sales are in those months, so I wanted to get a jump start on it. And this one came from Vinted, and this is from Jennifer. I was surprised how fast stuff was coming from Vinted when I ordered it. Oh, this is double wrapped. Oh, this is from Amazon. Now, wait a minute. It says it's from Amazon. Oh, she wants to recycle for time. Okay, this is from Vinted. Let's see. Oh, now this one was the package that I'm opening now is my biggest joy. Here's why. Vinted is great because you can get a lot of vintage stuff. Now, I looked up these cookie cutters on Google, and I looked up on eBay, and these cutters came from a company called Stanley Home Products, made in around 1958. And the nice thing about it is, on eBay, the sets were like $20. Vinted, it was $6. The only difference is, this set is only 4 cutters, but I didn't care because as long as I get my hands on these cutters, I was so excited. Because I am going to be launching a business, as I said. I'm not going to say exactly what kind, but I'm going to make ornaments out of these. And look at the details on the Santa. Oh my God, this is so good. This is about a 5-inch cutter. Now this is pretty big for me, but I cannot wait to use these cutters. I ordered a set and it was canceled on Vinted, and I got nervous. I said, okay, I need these cutters. And then I found them. They're still available. Again, these are from 1958 under Stanley Home Products. This is a snowman. And you can tell that they're a little dirty, so they have been around in someone's closet or craft drawer for years. This is a snowman. I got the rocking horse. The detail on these are really incredible. When you're using clay and you're pressing these cutters, the details are really, really matters. Because all you would have to do is roll your clay out, condition your clay, roll your clay, press it, and then you can bake it. You're going to shape it before you bake it and put the hole in it. But once it's baked, you can use all kinds of paints, watercolors, Posca pens, you name it. You can use it to embellish it. A lot of people just roll clay in white or translucent, and they do painting. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to paint them. And this is the drum. Now there's also a few other pieces to this set, and I ordered it So the other piece was like an angel. I think a angel and something else, a spaceman. So this set actually had, I think, 4 pieces or maybe 5 or 6. I don't remember. So this is the first group that came under $6. So I was so happy to get these. Because once my mind is set and I'm going to do something, I already had a plan for it. And then, like I said, the first one was canceled, and it was a whole set. So I got the full set, just pieces. And then I noticed that on Vinted, some of the people that post their cutters, they kept calling them Tupperware. I said, these are not Tupperware, because I did my research. I researched it on Google, and I said, well, they're not telling you exactly. Maybe they just don't know. And it doesn't really matter, but what matters to me is that they're vintage cutters, and I got them. I'm so happy about that. Now, this seems to be a book. This is a little heavy. They do have a lot of craft books that are no longer in print, like I said earlier. And I'm going to be getting, I'm going to be ordering cookbooks because I don't really have any old cookbooks. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but there's a reason for it. I'm going to be gathering recipes rather, for my next project because I'm actually doing multiple projects at once. My microphone's turned off. Okay, it's back on. But I'm going to be doing multiple projects at once because it's just the kind of person I am. So I'm planning cards. Of course, we'll show the tutorials on how I learned how to do watercolor. We're going to be working in Posca markers for ACEOs and the ornaments with polymer clay. Actually, the polymer clay is not just ornaments. It could be a bunch of stuff. Anyway, this book was actually, I noticed this book originally on Amazon for 20 bucks. And the man has, I've seen many, I think it was on Instagram, this person that wrote this book, this craft book. He has a series of craft books. And when I put it on, I looked it up on Amazon, it was on available. So I thought, he has some really good ideas. Alright, so this book is a craft book. It's from Mark Montano, The Big Ass Book of Crafts. And trust me, it was just $5. No, I think this might have been $8, excuse me. The price on Amazon was like 15 or 20, so I was happy to get this. Now these, I know he has more than one book out. So this one is, it says more than 150 crafts to fill your home, give to friends, decorate the yard, or send to mom. So boy, oh boy. Now the reason why I'm just a crafter. I mean, I don't like to pigeonhole myself and say, okay, I want to do just this or just that. This will cover things that I probably never use, but I like to have reference guides. That way I can, you know, if I get an inspiration or if I get an idea. Now this I will definitely use, and it's a lot of pages. This book has over 200 pages, I believe. Yeah, 375. Wow. Now it's hard. It's gonna be hard to see it, but I'll try to do a little bit of a flip through if you can see this. But I mean, there's all sorts of craft ideas, and man, for $8, and I don't know if this is still in print, but it's still hard to find. Also, this person does videos, I believe, on Instagram and Facebook, and I save those videos and files, and there's a lot of great ideas he comes up with. But all sorts of things. Now I'm going to turn it around, and it just says, give homemade gifts that look like they cost a fortune. But there's everything from like napkin holders, how to recycle wood and make it into like crosses. He does sugar scrubs. He teaches you how to create your own stationery using bubbles. I mean, it goes on and on. There's card making tutorials in here. Homemade dryer sheets, which is really cool. How to make paper mache bowls. They teach you wire working. So I won't be using all these crafts, but I love just to have things in my possession because at some point I may need to, you know, figure out what I want to do next or how do I do this or that. So I don't mind buying certain things that I don't really will use that heavily, but at some point I will be using this book and doing some of the art projects that he has in here. But I do know he does have more books out. They're just hard to find. So check out Vinted, and that's pretty much. Oh no, I'm sorry. I do have a little bit more. Just one moment. So I'm back. So yeah, I have a few more things to open up. And this was, now the reason why I know it's from Vinted is because I've only shopped on that app. I didn't shop anywhere else, so that's why this is from Vinted as well. But I think most of the packages, they come within a week. I guess it depends on where you live. But yeah, this is, I'm excited. Because, you know, yeah, things are so expensive. And, oh, these are exciting. Now, I will show you what these are. These are another set of cookie cutters. So the nice thing about the cookie cutter collection that I have now, I've never had a cookie cutter collection that involved so many different really nice cutters. These are vintage cutters. Now I believe these are Land O'Lakes. Let me see if I can read it. It doesn't say anything on these cutters, but this is a religious piece. These are, what do you call it, nativity cutters, if you can kind of see it. So there's about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 10 cutters in this bag. There's an angel. And these are vintage. I don't remember what year these were made, but they don't make them anymore. I can tell you that much. So that's where I get excited because, you know, there's a nice Christmas tree. I mean, these are going to be big ornaments, but I think I'll do okay. I'll be making ornaments out of these. And then there's like, I think there's a 3 kings. Yeah, these are the 3 kings. There's a camel. You know. So I'm excited about stuff like this because there's a nice star. You know, I began making ornaments back in the 80s, and I would sell out of them, believe it or not. Back then, there's another angel-looking figure. But back then, ornaments, polymer clay was a lot less expensive. It's gotten kind of expensive now. Oh yeah, these are the 3 kings. So these can be, I'm going to have fun with these. And then also you can do rubbings on them where you take a sheet of paper, stick the cutter underneath and rub it to get the design. So I have, these are endless possibilities. I snagged these up as soon as I saw them because I think these are Land O'Lakes. I'm not really sure the brand. I'll have to do some research to see exactly when these were made. So that's really, these are really worth it. I was really happy to snag that up. And I already know my budget for each thing I get is like it's under $10, but I've been getting most things between $1 to $5, and some things I spent like $8 for. I don't think I bought anything over $10 on Vinted. This one is from Yolanda, so this is another vintage package, and I don't know what this is. One thing I will say though, when you go on this app, try to get yourself a budget. You might want to have a little tally and write down what your purchases come to, because you'll end up spending a lot like I did, which is no problem. She sent a nice card in here. Thank you so much, enjoy. That was very nice of her. Like I said, I didn't get too much things for my birthday, so this is like birthdays. Now this is a Christmas set. And this looks like it was never used. It came from IKEA, so I know it was never used. Discontinued item, which is good. It was sold for $1. She sold this for a few bucks. I don't remember the price, but it says $1 on the back. So that's really cool. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not really camera savvy, but it says $1. So this is a Christmas cutter set, and I believe there is, doesn't say how many cutters. About 6 different cutters are in here, and it'll be worth it because some of these shapes are, well, they're repeated in a sense, but they're a little different. Looks like there's some kind of like gingerbread man with a hat on his head. I don't know if you can see these, but I will use these definitely. These are going to be really nice. Yeah, I'm excited about this because they were never used. So that's what's nice about shopping on this website, is because a lot of people are like hoarders that they've just discovered, hey, we can get rid of this stuff and it's free market prices. So I'm really happy to spend very little for what I got. The last one is a cutter. This is a rainbow cutter. Now, this is nice because, you know, very transparent, but I know rainbows have always been my favorite. So I'm going to use this cutter and make a rainbow dish out of it. I'm going to cut the clay, and I'm going to somehow paint it when it's finished, and then in the rainbow colors. So I definitely, that's why I bought it. I said this was like, I believe this was $2. And then I got another cutter from Vinted, and this was, oh man, I love cats. I have a cat. So this is a cat cookie cutter. And I can tell you right now, this cookie cutter, you see how big it is? It's hard to get things this large. So I'm excited to get this cutter because, again, I work in multiples, and getting a cutter this large means I can work really fast. So I'm excited about getting the kitty cat. And then the nice thing about these bigger cutters is that you can also trace them on paper, the outlines, and use that as a basis of your painting or your card. So these cookie cutters, even though I'm a little obsessed with cookie cutters, they're not just for making cookies. I don't make cookies anyway, but I used to make dog treats, but that's for a whole other. That's for later this year. We're going to do a limited edition of King's Canine cookies for the Christmas season, but it's very limited, and I have to get licensed and all that stuff, so that's why I'm waiting to do that later. But anyway, I always use separate cutters for the dog treats and my crafts, of course, but cookie cutters are not just for making things out of dough. You can also trace them on paper. You can also use them as a guide for other things. Even sewing, if you sew, you can use a cookie cutter to trace the fabric and then sew it down. So there's many different applications for cutters, and that's why I'm so obsessed with cookie cutters. But I do have another video to show. I'll post that a little bit later. I'm going to take a bit of a break, and I'll show you the other things that I got. So again, this is Michelle with Lydia Bates Creates. Thanks for joining me. We are at the 22-minute mark. This is a little longer video. So I'll have part 3 of what I got on Vinted, and then I'm going to show you the books that I got off of the online store. I'll go over that later. But I'm going to take a short break, and I'll post my third video in just about 10 minutes. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.